Have you ever heard a story so chilling it makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up? One that feels a little too real, a little too close to home? Well, settle in, because the story I'm about to tell you isn't from some dusty old book. It happened right here, in my small town, and it all started with 4 friends who thought they were invincible. We called ourselves the Creek Crew, me, Liam, Maya, and Ben. We grew up together, our houses separated by nothing but sprawling fields and a few old oak trees. Our playground was the entire town, but our favorite spot was the woods that bordered the old Blackwood Mill, a place our parents warned us to stay away from. They said the mill was built on cursed ground, the site of a forgotten village wiped out by a mysterious plague centuries ago. Of course, to us, it was just a spooky old story. One summer, looking for a thrill, Liam dared us to spend a night inside the abandoned mill. Ben, ever the skeptic, laughed it off. Maya was hesitant. Her grandmother had always told her stories about the whispering sickness that took the old village. But I was with Liam. What was the worst that could happen? It was just an old building. That night, under a sliver of a moon, we snuck out and pushed open the creaking doors of the Blackwood Mill. The air inside was heavy and smelled of damp earth and decay. Armed with flashlights, we explored the cavernous space. Dust motes danced in our light beams like tiny ghosts. It was Ben who found it, a small wooden chest tucked away under a rotten floorboard. Inside, nestled on a bed of faded velvet, was a single, tarnished silver locket. It was strangely beautiful. Maya, a lover of all things vintage, was instantly captivated. Against our better judgment, she picked it up and fastened it around her neck. That was our first mistake. The moment the clasp clicked shut, a cold wind whipped through the mill, extinguishing our flashlights and plunging us into darkness. We heard a faint whisper, like the rustling of dry leaves, seeming to come from all around us. We scrambled out of there as fast as we could, chalking it up to a draft and our overactive imaginations. But something had changed. The friendship that had once been our shield began to crack. Maya started acting strangely. She became withdrawn, often found staring into space, muttering to herself. She wore the locket constantly, refusing to take it off. Then she started talking about a new friend, a girl named Alara, who she said lived in the woods. We never saw this Alara. Liam and Ben grew worried, and their concern quickly turned into arguments. Ben accused Maya of losing her mind, while Liam tried to be more understanding, which only created a rift between the two of them. Our inseparable group was falling apart. Things took a terrifying turn when objects in Maya's house began moving on their own. Doors would slam shut, and whispers would echo from empty rooms. One evening I went to check on her and found her in her room talking to an empty chair. She turned to me, her eyes wide and unfocused, and said, "Alara doesn't like you. She says you want to take me away." The voice that came out of her wasn't entirely her own. It was layered with another, a soft, sibilant whisper. I ran from the house, my heart pounding in my chest. The curse of the forgotten village wasn't just a story. It was real, and it had a hold on our friend. Desperate, Liam, Ben, and I went to the town's local historian, an old woman who lived on the edge of town. She told us the legend was true. The last victim of the whispering sickness was a young girl named Alara, who was ostracized by her friends, accused of witchcraft, and left to die alone. Her tormented spirit was bound to her last possession, a silver locket. She latched onto the lonely and turned their closest friends against them, replaying her own tragic end. To save Maya, we had to return the locket and convince Alara's spirit she wasn't alone. Facing our deepest fears, the 3 of us returned to the Blackwood Mill at dusk. We found Maya standing in the center of the main room, her body unnaturally still. As we approached, the whispers grew louder, swirling around us, filled with anger and sorrow. Ben, who had been the biggest skeptic, stepped forward. He didn't shout or demand. He just spoke, his voice shaking. He apologized to Alara for her pain, for her loneliness. He told her Maya was our friend, and we wouldn't abandon her like Alara had been abandoned. Slowly I reached out and unclasped the locket from Maya's neck. As it fell into my hand, a final sorrowful sigh echoed through the mill, and then silence. The air cleared and Maya collapsed. breathing normally for the first time in weeks. We carried her out of that cursed place and never looked back. Our friendship was fractured, bruised, but it survived. We learned that night that some doors are meant to stay closed, and that the strongest bonds can be tested by the darkest of histories. Thank you so much for watching and listening to our town's chilling tale. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more accounts of the strange and unexplained, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had an experience you just can't explain. Stay safe out there.